We always gotta wait for that. Good morning, Tarkov. We always gotta wait for that riff to end. It's about like I was saying yesterday, actually. It's like 2/3 of that song, and we're gonna keep it since we're over here on YouTube. I can't do normal music. I have to do stuff that's non-copyright and stuff like that. Which, thankfully, of course, the original soundtrack, thanks to Nikita himself, Mr. Gene Byrne, is badass enough that we can just and there's enough of it that we can just have it in the background and we won't get any copyright issues. Should be all good. But again, good morning, Tarkov. In case you guys don't know what's going on with this is going to be a morning show at least for the next 5 or 6 days until I leave for TwitchCon Vegas, where we're going to be hanging out with BSG and lots of Escape from Tarkov creators and playing Arena, talking to BSG devs, doing some Q&As, doing some interviews, stuff like that. And I just wanted to see how this stuff would go. I used to do this, I want to say like, actually, I think I had an exact date last time I tried it, at least, which was, I think I want to say it was like June of last year or something like that. But YouTube did not like these VODs being kept up. I'm going to explicitly just say screw it, and I'm going to do a few days of these VODs so that you guys can watch and see what we talked about after the fact, and see how they do. And then just, you know, obviously the live stream in general, where we get to talk about whatever we want. If there's any topics in Escape from Tarkov that you want to discuss where we're going to be able to have a bit of a back and forth, we're going to be good to go. However, in terms of long form subjects, we did like a 15-20 minute discussion about cheaters yesterday. So if you want to go back and you want to get my take on that, go do that. If you want a quick rerun, if you want a quick explanation of something, I can do it today as well. However, I'm not going to have like a 15-20 minute discussion about cheaters anymore, because we ended it on pretty good terms yesterday with somebody who was pretty adamant about it. So I feel comfortable leaving that at least for this test, at least for this week. If we continue to do this, then we'll do like the major like 15-20 minute, maybe even longer discussions that we'll try and keep it to like once a week. And then I'll just say, hey, we talked about it yesterday, or hey, I talked about that on Tuesday, whatever we want to do. But all right, let's get started. Let's move over here. Boop. Also, if you guys have a subject, make sure you at Nice Guy Tarkov in the chat. At Nice Guy Tarkov, you'll see it pop up on screen. It'll be a big orange name. It helps me understand what is a question or what is something that you want me to see, and what is a discussion that you guys are having between yourselves in the chat. Helps me out a lot. And as always, if there is any issue with the microphone, if there's any issue with the music, if there's any issue with the volume of the video that I'm playing in the background, please complain. I'm giving you permission. Please complain about it, so that I can fix it. So I can know what's going on with that, and I can fix it for you. All right, we're gonna put that up there. Bop, bop, bop. We skipped around a little bit in raid. Oh, that's definitely loud. We'll put that down there. You sticking to YouTube for most or all of most/all of your future streams? I definitely want to do a lot on YouTube because that's where my following is. It's kind of funny on Twitch. Randomly, I could get hundreds of people to watch, which is interesting to me because I think I've only got like 10 or so, maybe 15, 20,000 followers over there on Twitch. I actually am not sure how many followers I have. But I'll get hundreds of people sometimes, and we're playing BattleBit. So I don't know. All I know is that obviously this is my main following. If I can get and also this is also useful content when we're in a lull, and I wanted to test live streaming on YouTube in general. So there's a couple of different reasons why I'm doing it on YouTube right now. So at least for this test, where I want to see what it does with YouTube, with live streaming on YouTube and putting the VODs up on the main channel on YouTube, it'll stay on YouTube. Maybe I'll do the co-stream where it goes to YouTube and Twitch at some point in the future. Who knows? Is BSG not worried that at some point, if they delay the release of the game, they will lose quite a bit amount of player base? At least not yet, because they have still plenty of people playing each and every wipe. So you get why they would probably understand what their current player base is, and then also you can get a pretty good value of it based off of like what's going on social media, how many people are posting about it, who's talking about it, stuff like that. Even just a simple hashtag. If anything, I would say that its footprint, Escape from Tarkov's footprint, is the largest that it's ever been. Because obviously more people know about it in general. Maybe they haven't played it yet, or maybe they've stopped playing, but they know about it, or they have tried it, or they have played it. And it's not at a point of no return. There isn't anything that specifically would say, hey, I'm never going back to that. Or at least not enough for people not to want to go back at launch. Launch is their major stepping point, is the major turning point, I would say, because that's like the this is it moment. Like, this is what they wanted to do. This is the real, you know, what would that be? This is the real product. I don't know. How else would you say? Like, this is what we've been waiting for. This is their best, you know, foot forward kind of deal. This is the launch. This is everything. And then, you know, maybe a month after that, we'll see what's going on. Or maybe, sorry, not a month. Maybe a season after that. So it'd be like 3, maybe 4 months after that. We'll see what's going on if they want to end up doing the periodical wipes with the non-persistent servers. And then we'll see if it gets another kick from that. We'll see what happens. But I genuinely don't think that they're worried right now. I think the things that they're most worried about is solving the cheater problem and getting the game actually feature complete and in a stable spot. I think they're worried about the actual good things to be worried about when you're at this stage of development as a, you know, game studio. Have you ever played Tarkov's prequels, and have you seen the prototype Russia 2028 footage on Train Fender's Nikita's YouTube channel? Of course, I've put it in several videos. In fact, if you look at that, if you look at that prototype footage, don't I have at least a couple comments on it? If you go into the comment section, I know I've commented on at least one of them. And then of course, yeah, I've played the prequels. So you mean Contract Wars and Hired Ops? Hired Ops is the more recent one. I did put actually a little bit of time into Hired Ops because the time that it came out, I was looking for like an arcadey shooter. So I actually put, I probably want to say I put like 50, 60 hours into Hired Ops. Leveled up a bunch of the guns, and of course I think they gave me a account that had some kind. It was like a content creator account or whatever. It didn't like have everything unlocked. It didn't even have like a third of the things unlocked. It was just like one special gun or something like that. I forget what it was, but I think they might have given me one of those. Again, guys, if there's something that you want to ask, try and help me out with the at Nice Guy Tarkov, so I know exactly what you are asking me or what you're talking about in the chat. I'll wait for Escape from Tarkov Arena. Yep, not gonna have to wait too long. Got more footage of that coming up on Friday, so only a few days away. Can't defer the next wipe so I can play. I'm assuming you mean can't wait for the next wipe. Took a break this wipe. This was a very solid wipe to take a break on. Absolutely. I would say if you wanted to get some gameplay in on Kaban and see like what his spawns are like, see what the Streets expansion's like, that might be beneficial. But no need to go get Kappa, no need to get level 40. Hell, I'm not even level 40. I didn't even know there was a prototype Russia 20. Yeah, there is prototype Russia 2028. So remember the story, and also if you guys haven't heard the story, actually, I shouldn't even call it a story. It's the legit situation. BSG went from Contract Wars and Hired Ops. They wanted Russia 2028 to be their first real like studio PC game, but they didn't have the funding for it. So they wanted to create a middle ground game that, with that middle ground game, they could get revenue from it. They can get some money from it in order to fund the development of Russia 2028. And then also inside of that, they could develop features. They could develop like whole features within the engine that they could then use to, you know, use in Russia 2028. So making money while also technically starting to develop the game that they want to develop. Well, that game was Escape from Tarkov and it blew up, and they've got all these cheetah problems, and they've got the fucking war, and they've got COVID and all that stuff over the years. So constant problems, of course. So it's pushing Russia 2028 much further back. So there was a point where they had that prototype footage and they had the idea out there of what they wanted to do with Russia 2028. And that's what you're seeing up there. I'm surprised it's still alive, to be honest. But you get the picture. And it's going to be a very different game than Escape from Tarkov. As long as they still stick to the plans that they have with that, which would be in single-player survival. If you could please ask about the main release, I'd like a better picture on how it will play. Clay Brown, you need to see my Q&A. That is all I care about, man. You're going to be happy about that. That is all I care about. So initially, and on the second channel, on my second channel, which is just Nice Guy, NOICEGUY, that's just the general gaming channel, and then also long form content. I had, well, us as a community, because I asked the community to add questions too. 45 questions initially for BSG, and then they asked me to turn it down because they said, you know what, this will take months for us to answer, even though it's taking months already for them to do the 15 that I sent. So you need to narrow this down. So we narrowed it down to 15, and then they wanted it to be about Arena, and we said, to be honest, we've heard everything. This was after Gamescom. It might have even been after Tokyo. We knew everything that we wanted to know about Arena, or we pretty much knew everything that we wanted to know about Arena, and then absolutely anything that was left, we knew we were going to get the answer, whether it was from BSG or whether it was us playing ourselves in the next couple months. But in reality, we just want to know what's going on with the game at release. So those 15 questions, 14 of them are about, I would say, actually, no, 12 of them are about the status of the game at release, or what they're looking to have the game look like at release, or what they're pushing to have the game look like at release. And then there was like something about API, and then I think it was like audio or something like that. It's a video that I had up a few weeks ago where I was talking about the questions that I asked, and I went through. I think I went through it a couple different videos. There was the 15 questions, but we're gonna have them answered in person next week, so we'll have that done. Absolutely on the same page with that. I very much want to know what the hell that they are doing with the game at release. What's your opinion on ammo distribution via flea traders crafting? Personally, I find it very odd that things like 55A1, 762 PP can be bought early, but not things like BT, not 9x21 BT at all. That's something that's coming with the next balance changes. They're doing a lot of balance changes with the 14 patch. And the reason why is because the reason why they're doing like the major balance changes with the 14 patch is because of the armor hitbox system. There's going to be so much difference with the way that the game works right now and after the armor hitbox system. I'm getting distracted because I'm watching the raid series. This is just fucking cool. If you guys haven't watched the raid series, I don't know what you're doing with your lives. You need to go check it out, whether it be episode by episode or whatever. Because of the armor hitbox changes, they need to see what the economy is going to be like before this and after this, because of the pistols being more effective. Every single ammunition in the game is going to be more effective, and way less people will want to run the higher tier armor, just because it might not be as effective in the situations that we find ourselves in, because we're used to going into close quarters combat a lot. We're used to just running in there, and you can't do that with a slick anymore. You're going to get schwacked. You can't do that with it. I mean, you can, and maybe you'll get lucky, but if they're beside you or if they hit above you, you're screwed. So you need something better for like breaching, for actually getting up in close quarters, and that's going to be a lot of different armor, and most of the time I'm assuming it's going to be like level 3, level 4 that actually has the real coverage. So we'll have to see what the game runs like with that, and I have a couple videos talking about that as well in detail. Hey bro, have you heard anything about the anti-cheat or anything like that, especially the arena coming out, something new maybe? I'm sorry, I can't read your name there. Is that Korean? I don't know the language. I really wish that there was like some kind of like a way for me to call you that. You're the one that asked about the anti-cheat question up above 3 questions ago. We had a massive discussion about that yesterday. So if you go and you check out my VOD from yesterday, the first like 20 minutes to possibly even like 25, 30 minutes of yesterday's live stream was talking about the cheater situation and my take on it, and where I see BSG, what I see BSG doing with it. But the TLDR on that discussion is that I wouldn't be here covering Escape from Tarkov, and a lot of people that you're seeing cover Escape from Tarkov wouldn't be covering Escape from Tarkov unless we believed, as in, at least as right now, we believe that BSG are doing what they can to solve the problem. That's just the bare minimum. Like, that's just it. I would find a day job, and I would be running like I'd be talking about Marathon, I'd be talking about We the People, I'd be talking about I kept calling it Beyond Light yesterday. I realized that after looking at the VOD a little bit. Beautiful Light is the extraction shooter that they're doing, like it's like aliens or demons or whatever. So I would have moved on by now. If I had thought that there's a real issue here, these guys don't actually care, I would have moved on by now. That's just the reality of the situation. Because it's just going to die. If they actually launch and there's significant issues, or they're actually not fixing the problem, or if they're not actually doing what they can to fix the problem, it would be super noticeable. Obviously, it's still an issue, but it's not something that is easy to solve. It's not something that even technically has a solution. If Activision is having issues with it, do we actually expect BSG to be able to solve the issue as well when BSG's game has way more incentive for cheaters than just Warzone or Call of Duty, where you're just like winning? And sure, there's like a pro scene and stuff like that, but they check for that shit, and they've got in-person stuff, which is way easier to do than online stuff, and being able to ban somebody like when they do it. But then on the other end of that, this is always, you can go into this for everything with Escape from Tarkov. There is supposed to be some stuff coming with the netcode changes that they're doing with patch 14, but they needed Unity 21. Some of those things they actually got in. So there's supposed to be some new stuff coming with patch 14. However, and this is the last bit of the TLDR here, BSG's take, which I happen to agree with, BSG's take on this is the more information that they give on what they're doing with the anti-cheat, the more information that they give on how they're implementing it, who they're working with, when it's going to be, all of that is useful information to the people that are developing the cheats themselves. So the more that they talk about, the better or the easier it is, or the quicker the cheat developers are going to be able to work and be able to bypass that, because it's only a matter of time. Every lock can be picked eventually. You just need time. And it's the same exact thing with this. But the core reason why, the real core reason why Tarkov is in such a vulnerable place is because the core netcode trusts the user, as far as I understand. And there could be some level of ignorance, but I've been learning about this stuff for years now, or I've been hearing about it. We've been talking about it for years now. My understanding is that the core netcode for Escape from Tarkov trusts the base user too much, or the servers trust the user too much. So the user, if they would like to fill in that random information that makes them fly around and move too quickly and be able to aim bot and stuff like that, whatever it is, it's not effective enough at understanding that that's a possibility or whatever. So the netcode changes with patch 14 is going to have some stuff with that. We'll see how effective it is. But that's it. That's the TLDR on that. If you want to get a full discussion with back and forth, go back to yesterday's VOD, because I'd like to be able to cover a wide array of topics and stuff like that. Cycle with the last question before that. Thoughts on the quest changes they made for this wipe? Think they purposely made them easier since it's shorter wipe, or they will keep the changes like Shooterborn stylish? It's possible that they made them easier because they knew it would be shorter. It's not that much shorter. I think they genuinely just wanted to see what would happen with the change, because our entire purpose right now is to test for the game at release. I would say let them do whatever the hell they want, and if they want to change up the tasks every month of a wipe, I would be completely okay with that, because we won't know until we know. We won't know what the game looks like with easier tasks, but more tasks. We won't know what a world where Shooterborn in Heaven doesn't care how far away you are anymore. Like, we won't know what the game looks like. We won't know what the economy looks like. We won't know how it plays unless we test it, and we're here to test it. So let them do whatever the hell they want. If they think it's a good idea, just do it. Let's test it. Let's see what happens with it, and then see what happens, and see how the game plays with it. That's what we're here to do. So in terms of like what's my take on it, or how do I feel about it, I'm completely okay with it. I don't think it changes the situation too much more, because we still don't know how the game's going to play at release. We need to see the armor hitbox changes. We need to see if they're going to end up doing PMC karma, if they're going to end up doing the unconscious state, if they're going to end up doing the NPC factions, open world, in-raid traders. There's so many significant features that are not in the game that are going to have a major effect on the ecosystem that is Escape from Tarkov, that it's gonna we just need them in the game so that we can test it. I'm not too worried about the side quests that are in game right now. I'm really not too worried about it. I hope that they figure something out for the main storyline quests. So I hope that they're solid, because we won't see those until its actual release. So if there's something that I'm genuinely worried about, it's how the main story is going to play out, because we've seen some wacky and wonky tasks, of course, before. Are they wacky and wonky because BSG see them as the side quests that they are, and they want them to be wacky and wonky, or is that just they thought that those were good quests to have, and maybe the main storyline is going to mirror them? Hopefully not the latter on that case. Do you think Colantide will have the shield, or will it be just rare? Gluhar's guards have been seen in COR with both shields. and RPD. Maybe these won't be unique bosses after all. I forget when exactly. It might have been the last Tarkov TV, or it might have been during the open Q&A that Nikita did at Gamescom. Actually, might have been. I think it was Tarkov TV. I think. He said that he doesn't think the boss is going to have the riot shield. RPD is coming. RPD is on the RPD is on the roadmap. So the RPD is coming. We'll have to see what's going on with the riot shield boss, though, and the riot shield in general. Not sure what's going to happen with that. What is your take on the ratting right now? That was another topic from yesterday. This is a quicker... Let me finish your question, though. People always say that they want this game to be tactical, but I think sitting in a bush or tree naked with an SVT is the opposite of tactical. I'd have to agree. However, that person isn't trying to play to be tactical. They're trying to play the game that they want to play it, the way that they want to play it. And this was a topic yesterday, but I'll TLDR it here. I, as well as BSG, do believe in play the game the way that you want to play it. However, if it is a movement, if it is something that way too many people use as a crutch or use as a way to gain an unfair advantage or change the game too much, change the ecosystem of the game too much, where it then affects the image of the game, it affects the way that it is generally played to the point where BSG don't like it, or it's moved too much, then BSG will put some things in place to stop that kind of gameplay, to lessen the reward of that type of gameplay. The example that I gave yesterday in that discussion was hatchet running. So if you guys weren't around long enough, or haven't been around long enough to know hatchet running, there used to be a day, or there was a day, when anybody that was ratting or anybody that was low on cash would bring in nothing. And even further back in the day, there was a system where you could put a rig in your gamma, or you could put there's like little glitches and stuff that you could do where you could put a pistol in the rig, and then you'd be able to use a pistol, not be able to reload it. You'd have a single magazine. This is way back in the day. If any of you guys remember this, speak up in chat because you're an OG. You could take a pistol out of your rig in your secure container, shoot somebody with it, or shoot a scav with it, take their gear, and then even if you died, you wouldn't be able to lose the pistol in the rig because it's in your secure container. And then also, you still had spaces in your secure container, sometimes more than 9, because the rig would hold more than 9 spots. So that was completely broken, and obviously not what BSG wanted, so they removed that. And then after that, it was just hatchet running because it was free. And a lot of the time, you can get after a scav, you can pick up their shotgun. Most of the time, you'd be hurt, but you pick up the shotgun, pick up their pistol, or whatever, and then you get a free raid after that. When they were developing the game and setting up the initial rules, they thought, why would you ever not bring a gun? Like, why would you ever do that? That's stupid. Why would you literally bring a knife or a hatchet to a gunfight? They thought that was ridiculous, and they thought they never even thought of it as a concept, let alone why would so many people do it. So they removed it. They added so that you're tagged and cursed if you bring in just a hatchet. That's the system. Too many people were sitting in trees. They didn't like too many people. They didn't like that people were sitting in trees. It's not necessarily really realistic. Sure, there's still some spots that you can do it, but maybe that was on purpose. Maybe that wasn't. Who knows? You can still snipe. They like sniping. They like PvP. They just didn't like that so many people were sitting in trees, so they made it so you can't sit in trees anymore. Same concept. So play the way that you want to play the game. Have fun doing what you want to do. But if it changes the ecosystem too much, then BSG are allowed to step in. So they stepped in. But check out the VOD you mentioned for details. Yeah, for sure. What happened to battle belts like what Big Pipe, I'm assuming you mean? Big Pipe and Bird Eye have? As far as I know, it's still part of the plan. That's a good question. That's something I should ask about next week. Again, guys, if you're trying to get my attention, you see it right up on screen right now. Also, the crop for that's a little bit off. Am I able to fix that? That crop is way off. I don't know what's going on with that. Can I do this? I think we'll do, I don't know. I gotta think of a better solution. I couldn't find a good solution for chat, but I think we'll leave it like this for now. Excuse me. As far as I know, battle belts are still coming, man. We'll see what happens. Don't forget the Scorpion backpack for the PKP, like the one Bear Juggernauts used in Hired Ops. Also, like what this guy's about to use here in a second. He's going to be in the doorway of that blue building. And he's going to have it. As far as I know, that's still coming as well. That's something that I can ask about. I'm going to be essentially spending at least 3 days where TwitchCon isn't going on, but I'm just hanging out with BSG. I'm going to get there a couple days early, and I'm going to be hanging out with them. Lots of interviews, lots of discussions to be had. We'll see how much of it I can talk about, and we'll see how much of it I can show, stuff like that. And then, of course, we've got TwitchCon itself, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There's some very cool stuff that's happening, IRL stuff that's happening Saturday. I'm bringing my 360 cam that I got for the motorcycle. I'm going to use that for IRL footage. I'm bringing a capture card for in-game footage. I'm bringing microphones, lav mics, stuff like that for interviews and stuff like that. So there's going to be a lot of cool stuff coming from that. And hopefully they have an answer. I'm going to assume with stuff like that, because I would consider the battle belt as like a non-priority, but something that they would still like to have in the game. I would assume that we're going to get a maybe. If I ask about a battle belt, I'm assuming we're going to get a maybe. If we ask about the Scorpion backpack, I'm assuming they're going to just say maybe. But we'll see. For all I know, they have it ready already. We'll see the guy in the doorway here using it in a sec. Has there been any updates or news on radios in game? Nothing new yet, but that's absolutely something that I'm going to talk about because I think it's a really cool feature. Not that guy, because he just had it mounted on the window. That's another thing I want to talk about too, is mounting. We thought that weapon mounting was in with this. There it is. That's a Scorpion backpack there. You see how that thing is coming out the right side? That comes to a backpack that he's got full of ammunition. And then there's Black Division. Black Division's going to clean him up. That was another discussion we had yesterday. Black Division is essentially confirmed for the game because during Nikita's Gamescom open Q&A, he accidentally confirmed them in kind of like a sideways way because he accidentally talked in certainty about them. I think he said like when. He like used the word when or something about it. As far as I know, Cycle... Is the music too loud too, by the way, guys? Maybe it's not because you haven't complained about it really necessarily, but it seems like it might be a little too loud. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. The radios I see as extremely useful if they add PMC Karma. There needs to be a way for you to make friends with people but still be able to communicate, which I think was the primary reason for radios. So as long as they're still planning on PMC Karma, I see the radios being as an absolute priority. But Nikita's been talking about radios for years now, more so than PMC Karma. So we'll see what's going on with that. They're not on the roadmap, right? Radios weren't on the roadmap. See if I have it here. I feel like we would have known about that if they're on the roadmap. I don't think that they were on the roadmap. I don't have it on this PC, so I can't check right now. I don't think that they're on the roadmap. Rip Skiff. Did we ever learn the name of the USEC guy? Did the USEC guy ever give his name from Raid? I'm blanking on the USEC guy's name. But the Russian guy was, the bear was Skiff. True LPVO optics would be dope. Wait, when did I talk about LPVO? As far as I know, they're still planning on adding the multiple zooms and stuff like that. Skiff and Mike. Oh, yeah, that's right. It was just like a super basic white guy American name. I forgot. They just named him Mike. They could have named him Steve or Dan. Something like that. Mike, right. All right. Yeah, I don't remember talking about LPVOs. I'm not sure what you're talking about there. What do you think about the whole headphone situation? I don't know what you're talking about. Give me some more detail, and I'll gladly talk about it. In this scene, you can see Black Division blowing up a wall with the... they didn't use the HC4 to blow up a wall. They used the C4 to blow up the wall. This took me a few times to understand this. Yeah, rip Skiff. These guys just wearing the Bino nods. instead of the quad nods. A lot of them did have quad nods, though. Speaking of, there's that guy with them. According to Nikita, he's fine. Look. According to Nikita, he survived that. He's all right. He's fine. I don't know what's going on with that lore. So that right there, those bags that you see right there, that's C4. The AT4 they used, or at least they wanted to use on the, if you couldn't tell, I've watched this way too many times. They use it on the bunker. AT4, and then you see it hit the bunker and the bunker blows up. They used it to take out the heavy machine gun. And you'll see it go past them. Yeah. Right there. Bunker there, bunker no longer there. So they didn't blow up the wall. They used it. It was probably like HEDP or maybe HE, and they used it specifically for bunker busting. Because they're super planning ahead, remember? So they knew that was there, and then you saw it in flames right there too. So they didn't blow up a wall, they just blew up a bunker. Yeah. So they probably had the plan that, hey, if you get this far, use this AT4 with HEDP or HE to blow up that bunker. Because that's how far ahead these guys are. They're fucking crazy. We'll put Chronicles Rizzy up now. Turn this down. Looks okay to me. Eyes are open, right? Well, what do you mean? Oh, Cena, what's up? I got a mod you on here. Just DM me on Discord real quick. Make me blah blah. I just want to make sure that it actually is you before I put mod on here. Could be just a crazy coincidence. Hey man, I go find Mike sometimes. Are you American? I don't know. I'm obviously there's Mikes, there's Michaels, there's all that stuff everywhere around the world, of course. But I just thought it was funny. They could have totally called him Steve and it'd be the same effect. You know what I mean? It's just like it's such like an American name. I don't know. I'm reading too much into it. Again, guys, if you got questions, make sure you do the at Nice Guy Tarkov so I can see it. I'm assuming that is you because you just DM'd me. Yep, me. Okay. Let me get you there. Add as moderator. Oop. What's up, by the way? Speaking of seeing in there, that's a reminder. For a quick Star Citizen plug, if you guys didn't know, Star Citizen is actually doing pretty well, and we have I have a Star Citizen channel. It's Nice Guy Star Citizen, the exact same thing as Nice Guy Tarkov, just not Tarkov. It's Star Citizen. If you guys are interested, or if you guys play, or if you're looking for an org, make sure you check that out. Absolutely, ask about it on the Discord. Jump into roles, get the Star Citizen role on Discord, and ask about it. Check it out because we've got hundreds of people. Probably, I would say, probably between 20 and 50 on a good day actually active right now, which understandably, if you follow Star Citizen, then you know why. It's just weird back and forth. But gameplay-wise, org-wise, right now, it's in a very good spot. So if you're looking for people to play with or if you're interested in the game, make sure you check it out. Check out the Nice Guy Star Citizen channel or the Star Citizen role on the Discord. That's the end of the plug on that. Eastern European, Mike, just unironically cool to me, and it's a shortening of Michael. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought I've kind of put it in the same category as like Steve or something like that. They're probably overthinking it or whatever. When do you think we will get the weapon painting and whatnot? I'm not sure, but it's going to be one of the things that I ask about. That's you can understand that those are one of those things. That's one of those things that's like not necessarily a priority to them right now, though, right? They want it in the game, but it's just they've got bigger stuff to worry about. That is one of those things that you can use as they have bigger stuff to worry about. Because a lot of people, you'll see this around all over the place constantly. is they need to stop working on maps and fix the game. They need to stop adding new guns and fix the game. It's over talked about now at this point from people that actually know what they're talking about. But it's not the same people. Engineers don't, do animation. They don't do the level of detail in the guns. They don't model the guns. They don't work on environment. They might be tech guys. They might be tech artists, which is a different story. But the engineers that are working on the networking, they're working on the netcode, they're working on the stability of the game. They're working on, that's what there's the major issue right there. It's networking and desync and stuff like that. They're working on the anti-cheat or helping develop or work with the anti-cheat developers. They're not the same people. So there's differences. But what are we calling it? The sprays? We got to try and think of a proper title for this, because if we call it sprays, then people now think of sprays as something that you'd, in those games where you take out the spray paint and then you've got the little emoji that you can put on the wall and shit. It's not that. The weapon paints. We got to think of a proper word for it. It's probably one of those things where it's just not necessarily a priority, and the people that could be working on it I have something more important to do. It could also have a hit. Maybe they've tested it already and it hits too much on the server somehow, or the effect that it has on the server isn't worth doing or something. Maybe you can do it in raid, or I don't know. I don't see it being that, but just think about it. There's probably some random stiff stuff that can go wrong with it, and for some reason it's not in yet. Or maybe it's just one of those things that, I have a theory that they have a lot of this stuff done, but they are keeping it for full release. They just want to have extra cool shit that can be done at full release, very simply just so people want to go in and check it out. Because there is a piece of this that for every little new thing that they add to the game specifically for full release, it is a bit it almost goes exponentially of how effective the release is. Because even if somebody has played, so situationally, what if if a specific player has played every play test, they've played the game thousands of hours, and they see what they're adding at release, and they're not that interested in it, whatever the situation might be. Extremely unlikely, but just I'm using it for the sake of this argument here. But they wanted to see what their favorite M4 looked like in tan or in green or whatever. So they jump on the game just to see what it looks like, and then they end up playing a couple raids, and then they end up staying. That's the thought process behind that. I'm not saying that's what they're doing. I'm not saying that's the plan. It's just the more that they keep it just for release, the more likely it is that it's they get more success from it. You know what I mean? And they're definitely thinking that way right now with a lot of stuff. So it shouldn't be the main features that actually define the game, though. So that's why I ask about them in my Q&A, and that's why we should know about stuff like PMC Karma, stuff like whether it's going to actually be open world or not, dragging bodies with the advanced medical system, whether you get knocked out or not, stuff like that. Are they still adding revives in Tarkov? Like I was just talking about. No, we don't actually know. Actually, it's not a no. It's a we don't know. We don't know what they're planning. We don't know what they're doing with the unconscious state. I hope that they're still adding it, but we don't know. And it's going to be one of the major topics that I'm talking about and that I'm asking about next week at TwitchCon. Okay, got that. What was update a few days ago? Servers went down. There's just little bug fixes and stuff like that. I think it depends on how many days is actually a couple days in your book there. Because it could have been the tree fix. It could have been the trees and the... What else did they do? Oh, they put in that setting. They put in the low texture quality. The streets low texture quality thing. Which you should check, by the way. You should at least check it and see if you like it. If you don't, then turn it off. That was I'm pretty sure that was the patch that they put it down. They put out the other day where servers went down. If that's your definition of a few days ago. Weapon painting was very significant in Hired Ops. You might have noticed it played a pretty big role in Contract Wars 2. We saw a screenshot of it being tested on an MP5 in game. We saw a screenshot of an MP5, and then we saw a screenshot of muzzle brake. So that was years ago, but it's still not in the game. You know what I mean? It's obviously they worked on it, and I would assume they want it in the game because it's also just realistic. Most of these guys run around with their weapons painted. but why isn't it in the game yet? Like, what's the issue? So obviously there's some kind of issue, or they're keeping it for full release. That was my point. Did you see Gigabeef's video about how to change the Found and Raid mechanic? And do you know if BSG will take that suggestion? Very, very selfishly, and I'm in a unique position with this. How should I word this? I don't know, some of this stuff is definitely a dick move, and this is definitely like an asshole move, but I believe that I have a very, very good understanding of BSG's plans and BSG's opinions and like their view on what should happen with the game. And in particular, the Found and Raid stuff, I know that they're at a point right now where it just kind of needs to happen. I had a video where I talked about it. It's my point of view on it. So there's a lot of subjects and there's a lot of things where where content creators are just trying to make a video to talk about stuff. I do it all the fucking time. I'm not saying it's a bad thing too, by the way, if anybody wants to troll me about it or whatever. You just want to simply talk about something. I call those the quote-unquote BS videos because it's just, opinionated stuff. But I try to keep my stuff more based off of understanding where BSG are coming from or why they would make the decisions that they make. So that's why I talked about it the way that I talked about it in my video. And if you go and you watch it or if you listen to it, whatever, then you'll understand like where BSG are with it. I don't think they have a choice. So until we get something better, until we have an actual better solution in terms of the anti-cheat, I think it needs to stay. So basically, no, I didn't watch it because it's one of those topics where I know BSG's take on it, and I understand that it's just an opinion video, and I probably already understand that he's going to want to change it up. He's probably going to want to do it so that you have different items and stuff like that. It's until we get a better anti-cheat system, until something changes along that line of things, I think that it's actually effective to keep the Found and Raid, and keep the anti-RMT stuff in place. I am going to be having a discussion. If Giga's going to TwitchCon, then we can have a discussion about it. But it would be like based off of our opinions, if I'm putting this the right way. It's not based off of something that BSG sees as useful or BSG might end up doing. It's just based off of our opinions. At the end of the day, we don't know the situation that they're working with fully. So who knows if it's actually going to be effective or not. Because we can keep giving them opinions. We can keep giving them options. But we don't actually know what is going to actually be useful or what they can actually do in game. And we don't know if they've actually already tried it. Maybe they've already tried something similar. So that's one of those opinion pieces that I don't pay attention to because I don't have enough time in the day. But I'm sure that's not the first time I've heard it. So I'm sure there's some good opinions in there. Hell, maybe even BSG heard about it and maybe they'll implement it. But usually when I see other creators making videos like that, I don't watch them because it's just, I kind of have my take on it. It's probably a dick move. It's probably an asshole move. And on the other end of things, perspective is good. So I'm glad that they're making videos like that. I'm glad that people are understanding, their point of view and stuff like that. And there's videos like that I'll watch that I might want to have a better understanding. Like the stuff around the PvP. Like I'm not super, super, super into the PvP stuff. So I'll watch like a Glorious E video where he'll have an opinion on what they should do. I'll watch something from like Axel if he's got an opinion on something that we should change based on PvP. That's coming from a place of where I'm going to learn something. But if it's something that I fully understand and that I've already made a video about giving my opinion on or giving my take on it, then it's coming from a point of I've already talked to BSG about it. I really understand why BSG are doing it that way. And until we see some other kind of change, I don't think anything is going to actually change or benefit from it. You know what I mean? I probably butchered that like 5 different fucking ways. So it's probably a good video. It's probably good opinions, but there's reasons why BSG are doing it the way they're doing it. Talked about it in my video. Can't wait for release, and all the game reviewers lose their mind because they can't figure out how to play. That is going to be absolutely amazing. I don't know how many of you guys have played when the Wiki wasn't really a thing. Maybe you kind of did because we did have Streets pop up recently. However, the Streets tasks did pop up a little bit later in terms of levels. So by then, all the streamers had already raced through to level 40 and, figured out all those spots and stuff like that, and the Wiki was updated. But from day one of release, we're going to have no idea of where to go. We have to go off of what BSG are going to give us in the tutorial and what they give us for the quest line, for the actual quest line, where we go first, what we do first, all that stuff. So that's going to be very interesting, and I'm looking forward to it, and that's why we're going to be live. Absolutely going to be live for days on end. Going to be going through that ourselves, for sure, on release. That new street setting has actually improved performance for me drastically. Good to hear, because I'm getting mixed reviews from a lot of people. A lot of people saying they're not noticing change. A lot of people saying that didn't work. A lot of people said they made it worse. It's just all over the place. Is map-to-map travel still in the cards? It's so interesting way of asking that question, because are you asking if it's still possible? Yes, it's still possible. How's it going to work? Is it going to go well? Is it going to actually be able to run well? Because they could put map-to-map travel in right now, and it'd be a bit of a shit show. It's not going to, it's not going to perform very well. They're going to have their own issues, especially if it's just like straight up open world. It's going to have its own issues. So in the cards, yes. Are they going to be able to put it in the game in a state that's going to be actually good for the game? We'll see. That's yet to be seen. Is it still part of the plan for them to try and figure it out? Yes. It is absolutely still part of the plan for them to try and develop a way that works out. That's still part of the plan. We'll see if it ends up working out, though. Have you noticed that the wiki has had a surge in documenting the upcoming content recently? I think that's cool, seeing all the past shown unreleased armors and weapon mods and all that. Surge. So I've been working with the wiki for years now. What do you mean by surge? Because all the old stuff has been there for years. If you're talking about the new stuff, it seems pretty on point. And I wouldn't know if it's necessarily a surge, because it's pretty much only Mari. Mari's looking for people to help, by the way, too. If you guys are interested in helping with, and actually helping with the wiki, jump in the Discord and I can link you up with the guy that runs it. Yeah, mister, I don't actually know what you're talking about there with the influx, because there isn't a whole lot of new stuff happening. Do you mean like the last patch? Because there was a streets expansion with the last patch, with the actual wipe. So there were lots of rooms, there were lots of keys, there's new tasks, there was a lot of stuff to add to it, if that's what you mean. Perfect answer, thank you. I don't actually know what you're talking about. Oh, map-to-map travel in the cards, gotcha. Do you think they should, as small suppression mechanic, to encourage you to bring in more ammo and shoot more? We'll see what they do with the bipod. We'll see what they end up doing with when you can actually mount your weapon and use bipods. We'll see what they end up doing with that. And then this was our last Chronicles of Rizzy episode, when Chipachilla goes and he's trying to hang out with him again with the SVD. We'll see what happens with that on the next episode of Chronicles of Rizzy. Suppression's tough. Suppression is tough. Sorry. I was trying to finish my coffee there. It kind of went down the wrong pipe. So I don't know of any system or work in progress they have in place right now to change the suppression effect past what we already have in the game. But there is some stuff that they're talking about. If you're not picking up on this, I'm trying to figure out if I could talk about this. How should I word this? If you guys watch Jesse Kazam, if you guys know Jesse Kazam, and this is actually one of the questions in the Q&A, so this is fine. There is a discussion going on about how your PMC reacts to getting hit and the situation immediately after getting hit and how that's affected, like how your gameplay is affected by that. So they are in talks of adding sort of like an adrenaline system, as Jesse would say it, or as Jesse would bring it up, where if you've been running for a while, or it's some kind of skill associated with the, the veterancy of your PMC, that when you take a shot, instead of your stamina getting completely drained and you just can't move and you die, there's some kind of system in place where, or if you've taken adrenaline recently, you can continue to move for a short amount of time depending on the shots that you took. So there is some talks going on with that. There's a bit of that going on, and we'll see what they end up doing with it. But that's part of my Q&A. We'll see how they answer it next week, because that's what that's one of the questions I'm gonna be asking about. But that's something that they're talking about. I'll leave it at that. And then so you know what, you asked about suppression in general too. Think of it this way: it's the entire situation of you getting engaged and also the chance that you get hit by the person shooting at you. It's like that whole, that if you take of that situation, like it's like how does this happen in the game? This whole situation. So he's being shot at. How does your player react to this? You've just been shot. Obviously you're dead, so that ends there. But you've been shot at, you've been hit, you've been shot at, you've been shot at, you've been hit. So what happens to your player in that split second? What happens to your player in that split second? They're revisiting that. They're talking about that, including suppression. But we'll see what they end up doing with it. I meant more the fact that the wiki used to not have upcoming content documented too well because it wasn't the priorities, but almost suddenly all the stuff was put up on the wiki. You're still being a bit vague, mister. I gotta admit, I don't think that was the case. I think they were constantly on top of that stuff. So I genuinely don't actually know what you're talking about, because they had a lot of the old stuff up. They were constantly on top of that stuff. I mean, they are in my wiki more often. Not my wiki. They're in my Discord more often, and the Sons of Soon are in there, and we're constantly on top of this stuff. So maybe that's adding to it. Maybe they're discussing it more. Really, the Suns would be like the prime location for that. We nerd over that shit all the time. So maybe. But I genuinely think that they did a good job. They've been doing a good job for years of keeping up with that stuff. I'm not sure. Do you reckon we'll ever get weapon mounting on surfaces? Absolutely. That's part of the bipod stuff. That's coming for sure. Make sure you put the at Nice Guy Tarkov like these guys are doing, White Boy Gaming, so that I make sure that, so I know it's a question. Do you think they will start release with all the maps being the old normal way, and then as release goes on, add the expansions as the game gets older? I'm not exactly sure what you're asking there. So the current plan, as long as they get map-to-map travel working at its core, maybe it's not going to be open world, but map-to-map travel. Their current plan, and as it's been for years, is you start the game in this tutorial area. You start the game in a certain location working on something, specific. And it's a very small location. Could be the tutorial zone. Could be like some kind of prologue area or whatever you want to call it. Pre-tutorial story mission kind of thing. And then something happens, something changes. You're on Streets of Tarkov. You're on a specific piece of Streets of Tarkov. And you need to escape from Tarkov. So you work your own way out in terms of how to do that. You can meet up with people. You get gear. You have a general idea of who you should talk to or where you should go. Try to find that person. Talk to that person. Might be Prapper. Might not be. Go find Prapper. Might not be Prapper. Who knows who it's going to be? You know what I mean? They'll give you an idea of what to do or what you should do, and then you may or may not do that thing. It may or may not include you going to a different part of Streets, and then that opens up that new part of Streets for you. It may or may not include you going to a different location in Tarkov, and then once you do that and you meet some people there or you go to that new location, now you have that new location in Tarkov. Could be customs, could be woods, could be reserve, could be whatever. And then as you go, you open up more areas of the map until you get to Shoreline or Lighthouse, or there might be an airfield or something where you can then get out, where you can escape from Tarkov. So it incrementally opens up the area as you go, like that. That's the plan as it's been described for years. We're also we're coming up in the last 5 minutes, guys. I keep this to about an hour. I try to keep this to about an hour every day. If there's something that you want to talk about, we can bring it up in the Discord. You can bring it up tomorrow. I'll be back exact same time tomorrow. Also, for the rest of the day today, I'm going to grab some lunch. And then I'm going to go live on Twitch. We're going to be doing Jumptown and Star Citizen. So if you guys want to know what's going on with that, again, quick Star Citizen plug. We got the Star Citizen channel, Nice Guy Tarkov, and we got the org going. So we're gonna have a large group of players working together to do some shit in the verse. So that's gonna be later today. But then again, we'll be back same time tomorrow, 10 a.m. Central. If you got more questions, will BSG release Arena this year? Yes, that is the plan. Gonna be playing it next week at TwitchCon, and then they want to release it Q4 this year. So either just before the next wipe or with the wipe itself. Really looking like the wipe itself in December, though. White Boy Gaming, I have several videos talking about this. Escape from Tarkov at release, what it's going to look like, map-to-map travel, all that stuff. I talk about that subject a lot. So if you're interested, go to the main page on my YouTube there, search release, search launch, search map-to-map travel, stuff like that. Search that up, and you should find a plethora of videos where I talk about that stuff. This is a crazy one for you to talk to Nikita about, but the gym room is very empty. Would love to see like a hydroponic setup to grow food or maybe other stuff, or a set of mannequins. Set of mannequins would be maybe like a clothing thing where you could put up rigs and stuff. And as far as I know, they're thinking about adding stuff like that, similar to what we got with the weapons rack this wipe. They're also talking about like a trophy case where you can put like a Killa helmet. We have achievements coming next patch, and then also when you incorporate stuff that you might be able to do with Arena, you might get awards that become physicalized, and you can put up on that trophy case or in that trophy case, however they end up doing it, if it's going to be like a shelf behind your bed or something like that. On top of that, there's other hideout expansions coming. There's stuff with the hideout that are coming. So we'll see what they end up doing with that. What I mean by suppression is like how squad reworks there to promote their teamwork and shooting to make your opponent go for cover and keep them there. Nicholas, that is also what I was talking about there. So sorry if I did a bad job, but there's TLDR, they are looking into it. The whole system around being engaged by another player is being looked at, on top of also being hit. What happens immediately after you're hit? They're looking into it. They're doing it. But you do know that there is a suppression thing already in the game. Your screen shakes, like you get fuzzy. We're gonna see it here, I'm assuming, although it's very quick. So there could be a little bit more that comes with that. And then also, if you get hit, if you actually get an injury, there's also the pain that comes up with that. There's a lot of aspects of the game right now where it's very similar feelings to it. And BSG might be okay with, at release, being okay with what they have already. But maybe they'll add a bit more to the suppression. Who knows? We'll see what they end up doing with it. Do you think BSG will add arm stamina and breath and leg stamina? Am I missing something, or is that not already in the game? The blue bar is your arms, green is your legs, dude. Am I missing something there, or is that like a trick question? And then breath. Actually, I forget what breath does. Does breath affect both? I actually forget what breath does. Is that like a trick question or something? Do you think after December EOD will be gone forever? Absolutely not. I don't think that they'll get rid of EOD until after full release, which I think we're still a year or so beyond. Do you think that the players on reserve are too divided? I feel like 10 out of 12 of the PMCs flock to Underground. Man, that's every map. You go to Shoreline, people are going to the LEDX rooms, or they're going to Resort. You go to Lighthouse. People are either heading out to the lighthouse itself, or they're heading out to the water treatment plant or the villas. Like, it's just dependent on what your hot zones in the map are. They're going to be looking at extracts. They're going to be looking at spawns. They're going to be looking at reasons to keep people in raids. That's something that they constantly talk about, and they're constantly looking at in terms of balance of the game. So that's something that's going to come with time. And we'll see what even happens if they do like or if/when they do the like map-to-map travel and stuff like that. Reserve's a very interesting map. It's got a lot of hot points. More NPC factions, maybe, if they do something with the Russian regular army, the Russian military on reserve, because it is a Russian military base, stuff like that. Anyway, guys, I try my best to keep these to an hour, and we're at an hour on the dot. If you have more subjects that you want to bring up in a Good Morning Tarkov, we'll be back same time tomorrow, 10 a.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. East. You can check it out on the Discord as well. I actually put up a new role in the Discord that was specific to Tarkov-related streams. So if you go into the hashtag roles channel in the Discord, you'll get a notification from now on that is a Tarkov-related stream instead of just the Tarkov ping that we got today, because we have a new role for that. Otherwise, gonna be live later on my Twitch channel. We're gonna be doing more Star Citizen as a group, as an org, with Jumptown, Wake of Disaster, and the lightning shenanigans stuff going on with that. And if you got any other questions, you can hit me up on Discord. Follow me on Twitter. Nice guy. Linked in the description as well. Otherwise, thank you guys very much for watching. We'll be back same time tomorrow, and I hope you have a nice day. See you guys.